Hello everyone, I welcome you all for the video lecture on Indian Constitution. Today let us discuss on the topic power and function of Vice President. The Vice President typically serves as the second highest executive council in a government and holds various powers and functions. Depending on the country's system of government, the specific role of the Vice President can be vary widely between presidential, parliamentary and semi-presidential systems and even within different countries following the same system. General powers and functions of the vice president are succession to the presidency. One of the primary roles of the vice president is to assume the duties of the president in case of death or resignation of the president, incapacity of the president to discharge their duties. This ensures continuity in the executive leadership. Example, in the United States, if the president is unable to serve, the vice president assumes the office of the president. Presiding over the Senate, legislative role. In many systems, the vice president has a formal role in the legislative branch, usually as the presiding officer of the upper house of the legislature. Example, Senate in the US. The vice president may cast a tie-breaking vote in the Senate when there is an equal number of votes on both sides. The vice president can oversee certain procedural matters in the Senate and ensure legislative sessions proceed according to parliamentary rules. Example, in the United States, the vice president serves as the president of the Senate and can break ties in Senate votes. Advising the president, the vice president often acts as the close advisor to the president, providing counsel on critical decisions involving policy, governance, and administration. In some countries, the vice president may be given specific portfolios such as foreign policy, defense, or economic issues, depending on the president's delegation of authority. Example, in the US, we vice presidents like Joe Biden and Dick Cheney were given significant advisory roles on key national and international issues. Representing the president, the vice president may represent the president in ceremonial duties, official state functions, and diplomatic activities, both within the country and internationally. Attending state funerals or events, meeting foreign dignitaries, engaging in diplomatic negotiations. This helps distribute the workload of the president, particularly for lower profile events or even when the president is unavailable. Chairing government committees. The vice president may chair important government committees, commissions, and councils. For example, in some systems, the vice president leads national security councils or economic policy teams. The vice president can also head specific task forces designed to focus on key areas of governance. Example, climate change, healthcare reform. Example, the US Vice President has led task forces on various issues such as Joe Biden's leadership of the Middle Class Task Force during the Obama administration and assisting in policy implementation. In cases where the president is temporarily unavailable to perform their duties, the vice president may act as the president for that period. Example, in the US, the 25th Amendment provides for the VP to act as president when the president is temporarily incapacitated. And serving as a symbol of stability, presence of a vice president in the government provides a safety net for national stability, ensuring there is a clear line of succession and preventing power vacuums in case of unforeseen circumstances. In systems where the vice principal is chosen for electoral balance, they can also symbolize unity between different political, regional, or ethnic groups. Specific examples from different systems: Vice President in the United States. The Vice President and the President is President of the Senate with the authority to cast a tie breaking vote. He is first in line of succession to the presidency. Depending on the administration, US vice presidents have often been given key roles in advising the president, leading special initiatives, and representing the US abroad. The vice president in India is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha, similar to the US system. He is first in line of succession to the presidency. If this president dies or becomes incapable of fulfilling their duties. Unlike the US, the Indian VP has a largely ceremonial role and their executive functions are minimal unless they assume the office of the president. Vice president is in a semi presidential system, example France. In semi presidential systems, there is typically no vice president. Instead, the prime minister acts as the second in command, sharing executive functions with the president. In such systems, the concept of a vice president does not usually exist, but the vice president um, uh, may not usually exist, but the prime minister may fulfill some similar roles. Conclusion: the powers and functions of the vice president depends on the country's governmental structure. Thus, presidential systems, the vice president often has a significant role including executive, legislative, and advisory functions. They act as the president's successor, preside over legislative bodies, and often play a key part in governance. In parliamentary systems, the VP's role may be more ceremonial. Nonetheless, in all systems, the vice president ensures continuity in leadership and stability in the event of a presidential vacancy. Thank you all. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like, we will discuss in another video in Indian Constitution. Until then, it's Jayatmiga. Bye all.